Hi, everyone, and welcome to our presentation on birding in the Niagara Region State Parks for our Birds on the Niagara Festival. I'm Matt Nusstein. I am an environmental educator with these state parks, working out of the Niagara Region Park Interpretive Programs office. So our office leads guided hikes and programs in our state parks. And I want to mention as well, before we really dive into the birds, we have 3 seasonal nature centers in the Niagara region of our state parks. We have the Evangola State Park Nature Center, the Fort Niagara State Park Nature Center, and the Beaver Island State Park Nature Center. All 3 of these are seasonal nature centers, so they're open during the summer months. But I wanted to mention them because they are fantastic resources for anyone visiting our regional state parks. And each of them has fantastic displays and informations about the local, natural, and historical history of these state parks in the Niagara region. But as well, the environmental educators that are staffing these buildings are certainly wonderful resources to tap into when you're visiting these parks. And oftentimes, if you're out here to go birding as well, we are a wonderful resource to figure out where's the best place for us to go birding when we're visiting these parks, or perhaps a rarity was spotted in one of the state parks and our education staff can help direct you in the direction of that bird. So again, please visit us at these nature centers. There's often programming happening at them as well, free programs that you can join. Just a wonderful resource that we have in this area for everyone to come out and visit and enjoy. So I just wanted to mention them as well. So again, working out of the Niagara Region State Parks, we offer these guided programs in all the 18 state parks in Niagara and Erie County. So there's kind of a map on your right to show you where these parks are located. And we offer guided bird walks and guided bird programs year-round. Things from basic intro to birding programs to things like the bird counts from Christmas bird counts, or the New York State Ornithological Association waterfowl counts, or Buffalo Ornithological Society counts. We do all sorts of community science bird walks, as well as just regular intro to birding, or go out and enjoy birds at a given time of the year. So definitely a variety of bird walks, but we also cover a variety of other topics as well. So if you have an interest in, say, astronomy, we have astronomy programs. We can go out looking for butterflies on a butterfly walk, as well as historical programs and recreational programs like biking and kayaking. So all sorts of wonderful free programs. You just have to call and register for them. And a great way to find them, you'll see a QR code there on your screen. You can scan that, and that will bring you to the park's website to sign up for our bi-monthly newsletter. So every 2 months this is produced, and it has a nice article featuring some aspect of one of the regional state parks, as well as providing you an outlet to see which programs are coming up in these state parks. We also have several social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and so on, where you can find more information about our programs, our office, and our local regional state parks. So definitely check out all those resources as well. We're here today, though, however, to highlight birding in the state parks. And I'd like to start off by introducing the important bird areas, or IBAs, as I'll refer to them later on. For those who aren't familiar with the IBA program, it is an international initiative that identifies significant sites for birds throughout the entire world. This was started by BirdLife International in Europe in 1985. Now here in New York, our IBA program, we started to identify these important bird areas in 1996. And this was through a spearheading effort of the New York State Audubon Society, its partners and affiliates, and local communities and community people like you and I, birders who really enjoy birding and wanted to go out and help and identify areas that are important for birds and should be conserved, not only for us and our enjoyment, but for the birds and for future birders and future generations to enjoy these places. So again, experts, bird enthusiasts alike, we went out and identified locations that met one of 3 criteria, and potentially more than just one they met. They could have met all 3 or 2 of the 3. The first criteria being a place where birds congregate in a large number at one time. Criteria 2, a place for species that are at risk. And criteria 3, a place that supports groups of birds representing certain habitats, such as a forest habitat or a wetland or grassland or shrubland habitat. So ornithologists, scientists, bird enthusiasts alike went out, identified areas that met one of these criteria or more, and by doing so, you were able to nominate and then designate these areas as an important bird area. And one of the reasons I wanted to mention them, many of these locations include a state park, part of a state park. So they're including some of these places we're going to be talking about later on in this presentation. So IBA, a great program for the state and obviously an international effort. So a wonderful thing to see. Now here's a map that shows approximately 127 IBAs in New York State. This map is actually a few years old. There's more than what are being represented. However, I just wanted to highlight that there are so many IBAs in New York State, which is wonderful. These are places that are conserving not only bird habitat, but its primary purpose was for birds, but as a result, you're protecting habitat that provides resources for a wide variety of species, as well as recreational opportunities for us. And as you can see by the map, there's probably an IBA somewhere nearby you that you can go and visit within a short commute. So absolutely wonderful to see so many IBAs in our state, places for people to enjoy, places that are protecting bird habitat, and as a result, habitat for other species as well. Now, very similar are the bird conservation areas, or BCAs. The BCA initiative began in New York State in 1997, and this was modeled after the IBA program. So the BCA, the Bird Conservation Area Program, was designed to safeguard and enhance bird populations and their habitats on state lands and waters. So this is an initiative to protect state-owned property, New York state-owned property. The BCAs help integrate bird conservation interests in agency planning, management, and research projects. So as of 2017, of the 62 BCAs throughout the state, 27 are within state parks. And again, that was 2017. There have certainly actually been some additions since that time, so that number is even a little bit higher than what I have shown. An area can be designated as a BCA if it is judged as an important habitat for one or more species, and in general, a site is nominated because of its importance to a large number of waterfowl or seabirds or shorebirds or wading birds, migratory birds, or because of a high species diversity or an importance to a species at risk, or its importance as a bird research site. So again, these criteria are very much similar to the IBA program, which it's modeled after. And many of our state parks are BCAs, and some locations even have the distinction of being both an IBA and a BCA, which we will also talk about a little bit later on here. Here is a map of the bird conservation areas in New York State as of 2017. As I mentioned earlier, there's certainly been others added since this point, but again, this gives you a great sense of all these bird locations, places that have been identified as a wonderful birding opportunity and place for birds in New York State, which is just absolutely fantastic to see. So a nice map illustrating these locations. So now from this point on, we're going to look at some of our local parks. Again, this is in Niagara and Erie County. These are local state parks that we're going to be talking about. And I wanted to start off with Buckhorn Island State Park because Buckhorn Island has a bird conservation area. Buckhorn Island State Park is also considered a state nature preserve. And it is the BCA, the Bird Conservation Area, located on Buckhorn Island. And I should mention Buckhorn is at the north end of Grand Island, and you can see on the satellite map that Grand Island is bordered on both sides by the Niagara River. And the BCA here is recognized as one of the two largest remaining marshes on the Niagara River. Well, that's very significant, and part of the reason why we have a BCA here at Buckhorn Island State Park. The park is a significant concentration area for large numbers and diverse species of birds as it provides feeding, resting, and breeding areas for those birds. Birds of interest in Buckhorn include a variety of species of ducks, herons, coots, moorhens, rails, pretty much any bird you might associate with a marshland habitat or an open river habitat, you certainly can expect to find at Buckhorn. There are also forested sections in the state park, and as a result, during the spring and fall migration, we get a significant number of neotropical songbirds. The Niagara River corridor is including, this is in Buckhorn Island State Park, being on the Niagara River, and that corridor is a wonderful migration route for many of these birds. So several of the locations we're talking about that will be on this Niagara River corridor are going to be places where migratory birds are going to be stopping. But also these are year-round birding destinations that have breeding birds utilizing them as well. So here's kind of a satellite image of Buckhorn Island. I just wanted to illustrate the size of the marsh. So you'll see two main wooded areas on your map, one on the north, one down to the south where that east-west Park Road goes through. In between those woodlots, you will see that grayish green kind of color. That's the marsh that is going through Buckhorn Island State Park and is where many of these wonderful marsh birds can be found. And you'll see kind of towards the right there, a Woods Creek kayak launch. You can kayak there. There's a parking lot right there, which gives you access to many of the trails in Buckhorn Island State Park. So here are just a few pictures from the park. I just wanted to give people a sense of the habitat that can be discovered there. So the marsh, we have pictures of the river right there, and then there'll be several more pictures of the marsh habitat to give you a sense of what you might expect to find when you visit if you haven't yet visited Buckhorn Island State Park. If you haven't, please do. It's an incredible place to visit. So moving north now, we have Joe Davis State Park, which also has a bird conservation area. The BCA located in Joseph Davis State Park includes approximately 1,400 feet of frontage on the Niagara River and 31 acres of underwater land, which is kind of unique. 2/3 of the BCA is successional shrubland, and mature second growth forests can also be found along the eastern portion of the park and along the Niagara River shoreline. So other ecological communities represented in the BCA are old fields, open water, and wetlands. So you're hopefully getting a sense of diversity of habitats out of Joe Davis State Park. You're getting things like fields, shrubs, woods, but also river frontage. So as a result of a diversity of ecological communities and habitat, you can also expect to see a large diversity of birds while visiting and birding at Joseph Davis. Several species of berry-producing shrubs are there, providing significant food sources for the migratory birds along the Niagara River corridor. Joseph Davis is on that corridor. In the fields in the summer, you can expect to find things like horned larks, savanna sparrows, bobolinks, eastern meadowlarks, all those good grassland species we all hope to see. And during the winter, being so close to the Niagara River, you can certainly expect to see some different species of gull and waterfowl. So Joe Davis State Park is a wonderful year-round birding destination to enjoy and to visit. And here's kind of a map of the bird conservation area itself, as well as several pictures from inside the park showing you the wetland habitat, that shrubland habitat along the parkway. We all know birds love that nice thicket shrub type habitat. So again, a wonderful place to go birding and visit and enjoy. So here's kind of the big one, the one that our Birds on the Niagara Festival is certainly celebrating, the Niagara River Corridor IBA, Important Bird Area. The Niagara River Corridor Important Bird Area was designated in 1996. This was led by an international partnership of government agencies, state and local governments, non-for-profits, community groups, and again, individual stakeholders like you and I, bird enthusiasts who just love birds and get out there and enjoy them and want to protect the places that they can find them and see them. And the Niagara River itself is connecting Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, and along its entire length, it's providing an incredible array of biodiversity. Now, this is going just beyond birds as well in terms of biodiversity. The Niagara River corridor is a wonderful place to enjoy flora, fauna of several different species, and it's just a wonderful place to go hiking and enjoy and recreate in the outdoors. So this is certainly a destination for everyone to come out and enjoy. Again, the corridor is habitat for numerous species of native vegetation, fish, insects, mammals, amphibians, reptiles, and birds of global significance. So as far as birds go, the Arctic and neotropical birds that use this corridor is a major migratory stopover site during both the spring and autumn migrations. Additionally, the corridor provides valuable breeding habitat for numerous species of birds during their respective breeding seasons. So not only is the corridor providing these wonderful stopover sites during migrations, it's also providing crucial habitat for breeding birds during the summer. So really, depending on what season you're there, whether it be winter, spring, summer, or fall, there's going to be different birds for you to enjoy in significant numbers. And this is part of the reason why this entire corridor has been designated as an IBA. It is a year-round birding destination. Really excitingly, in 2019, to add to the distinction of this IBA corridor, the Niagara River the corridor was designated as a Ramsar site. So the American side of the river earned this prestigious designation in 2019. And this includes the river itself, lake to lake, as well as the protected green spaces along the sides. The Ramsar designation elevates the importance of the NRC, the Niagara River Corridor, to a global stage. So this is recognizing the significance of the Niagara River Corridor as one of the most important wetlands in the world. So this was just a phenomenal designation, and we're all extremely grateful for those who put in that hard work to make this happen. Again, just a few years ago, 2019. So it's wonderful to see that the river is continuing to get the attention it deserves. It is such a wonderful place for biodiversity and for people and wildlife to utilize. So some of the state parks we have along the NRC or Niagara River Corridor, we have 8 of them. The Niagara Falls State Park, Whirlpool, DeVoe Woods, Reservoir, Devil's Hole, Art Park, Joe Davis, and Fort Niagara. So on the left, you can see a map where these parks are located along the NRC, and then the associated photos of 6 of those parks are on the right-hand side. So you can kind of get a sense of all the habitat and terrain diversity that these parks are covering just along the NRC. Again, these are all wonderful, unique destinations to enjoy. And if you're from Western New York, these are right in your backyard. And these are places you won't find anywhere else quite like it in the world. So definitely something we should all be visiting, celebrating these wonderful state park treasures we have along the NRC. So we'll kind of highlight the Niagara Gorge, which is the 7-mile-long gorge located within the Niagara River corridor, starting at Art Park and ending at the present-day location of Niagara Falls. Many of the state parks located along this gorge provide excellent viewing opportunities for bird life living along the gorge and the river. Whirlpool State Park being one of them has a wonderful overlook. So you're going to be above the birds looking down at the river in the whirlpool. And you can see several species of gull during the winter months, waterfowl species as well. And I think every gull enthusiast out there is always excited to have the challenge of finding a little gull in that mixed flock of gull species. The Niagara River corridor, the gorge, is certainly a location to go and try and seek out the little gull, which is always a highlight of many during the winter months. Songbirds, hawks, peregrine falcons, these are also birds of interest that can be found, again, making the gorge and the river a year-round birding destination. Certainly, some of the highest concentrations of gulls and waterfowls to be celebrated are during the winter, as we're doing with the festival, but not to be ignored the rest of the year are all the other birds using these habitats and locations as well. So now going up to Niagara Falls State Park, not only obviously is the falls one of the great natural wonders of the world itself, but it's also supporting a world-renowned concentration of bird life, again, especially during the winter months. So a large assortment of gulls and waterfowl can be found in the stretch of the river just below the falls. And then if you're kind of looking at our satellite map, you'll see that one big island, Goat Island. Well, there's several small islands surrounding Goat Island, things like the Three Sisters Islands. And these are excellent locations to search for gulls and waterfowl throughout the winter. I think probably one of the highlights for many are the harlequin ducks that can be found, diligent searching often. They can be a little tricky to find. They're never in great numbers, but often reliable during the winter. And quite a highlight to find a harlequin duck up by Goat Island in Niagara Falls. But now just kind of out of our view of that satellite picture above the falls east of Goat Island, the river kind of widens. And as a result, that area is supporting a large concentration of waterfowl. And I think one of the highlights for many and one of the enjoyments of birding every day you go out there and you're seeing these massive concentrations of not only individual birds, but several species represented as well, is the hope of finding something that is unexpected, a rarity or something that others have missed, and to be able to celebrate that and share that with everyone. Every day you go birding, you have the potential of finding something new and something exciting. Every bird is certainly exciting, but when you get a rarity, yeah, that's something to celebrate as well. So every day you go out there, especially a place like Niagara Falls, when you're getting these concentrations of birds, it's like Christmas. You never know what you're going to see or what you're going to get. So again, another wonderful place to go birding right here in Western New York. So now moving north of the falls, we're going to go up to Fort Niagara State Park and kind of touch upon what I just mentioned with you never know what you're going to get when you go birding. 2021 in December, we started getting razorbills out of Fort Niagara State Park. I had never seen a razorbill, so I made the journey to go and enjoy the bird, and it turned out there might have been 4 of them up there from what people have seen. And again, a wonderful part of our local birding community is people find these things and are open to sharing with others, so everyone gets the opportunity to enjoy these birds. And that was, again, right out of Fort Niagara. Fort Niagara often is best known for the old fort that encompasses the western section of the park. The old fort itself is a military construct that dates back to the first post in about 1679. So certainly an old structure, historic structure worthy of our admiration. But if we're scoping for birds, the park in its entirety is an excellent place to visit. The park is located at the mouth of the Niagara River, where it empties into Lake Ontario, part of the reason the fort was built there. It's a wonderful strategic point. For birders, it's a wonderful strategic point to find some of these rarities or other birds enjoying the open waters. Again, in winter, it's one of the best locations for viewing waterfowl. Every time I go birding up there, I'm always blown away at the remarkable numbers of white-winged scoters that I tend to find, and red-throated loons seem to be easy to discover there. Long-tailed ducks and so on, just examples. But again, just to talk about this razorbill briefly, several people actually went into the old fort itself. You're able to tour the old fort. At the same time, the old fort's location provides some of the best locations to see some of these birds. I don't know how many places there are around where you can go birding out of a fort that started construction in 1679. Pretty remarkable thing for one of our state parks to have that kind of designation and distinction of a historic fort, and you can go birding out of it as well. Pretty cool, I think. So now jumping back down to Grand Island State Park. We are now at Beaver Island State Park, which is located on Grand Island. If you recall from the previous slides, Buckhorn Island was at the north end of Grand Island. Beaver Island is at the south. And here's kind of a satellite image showing you some of the habitats that can be found on Beaver Island State Park. One I'd like to point out is towards the left side of this image, you might see a blue pin that says Beaver Island Kayak Launch. And to the left of that, there's a little bit of land that has a label that says Beaver Island, kind of near a little circle road. Locally, we typically call that little chunk of land Little Beaver Island. And then the major chunk of land just north of that is Beaver Island itself. In between Little Beaver and the main Beaver Island State Park, you're going to see that kind of smudge. It looks like a little crescent of water. That's a protected lagoon in the park. And that's what creates the Little Beaver Island right there, is the water bordering it. Beaver Island itself is a 950-acre park, again, south end of Grand Island. Being bordered by the Niagara River on both sides, it certainly has wonderful opportunities to view waterfowl. There's, again, the protected lagoon, which is visited by waterfowl if the waves are a bit choppy on the river. Bald eagles can be spotted. In the lagoon is a nesting platform for osprey, and most years they seem to successfully nest off that platform. Probably the highlight for many in the winter when visiting Beaver Island are the tundra swans. There are very few places I can think of that have such a wonderful concentration of easy views of tundra swans in Beaver Island State Park. So if you want to see a tundra swan in the winter, I would certainly head to Beaver Island State Park to get good views of them, especially around the swimming beach area. They seem to like to congregate around that section. Additionally, there have been several marsh and habitat restoration projects throughout the park, again, creating even more habitat for local wildlife. these restoration projects. You can see the map on the right there along the East River. There's a trail that runs along that, so you can enjoy the restoration projects. These are certainly enhancing habitat for birds, but as well as other species of wildlife, native flora and fauna, all utilizing these wonderful conservation and habitat enhancement projects. And a wonderful thing to see. And through time, it's only going to get better and benefit more and more species, and as well as a recreational opportunity for us to enjoy and kind of reconnect with nature and some of that original habitat. So good stuff happening out at Beaver Island State Park as well. Further south is Buffalo Harbor State Park. Depending on where you are in the city, it's a 10 to 5 minute drive out of the city. It's also our newest state park in the Niagara region. It's also located across the street from Tiff Nature Preserve. So this is kind of like a nice 2-for-1 deal. You can go birding at Tiff Nature Preserve across the street and go birding at Buffalo Harbor. The protected waters at Buffalo Harbor provide excellent viewing for waterfowl. Now you're seeing in your picture a lot of boat docks with what looks like a break wall. It certainly is a small break wall with a path on it, so I usually refer to it as the promenade in the park. Just outside of view of this picture, we can't see it, to the west of that small break wall with the promenade is a much larger break wall. And that takes the brunt of all the storms and the waves out in the lake. So as a result, in between that big break wall and what we can see in the photo is some nice protected calm waters. And that's often where, if the lake is really choppy, many of these waterfowl species will gather and kind of congregate. So there's a path again on that small break wall by the boat docks, which gives you easy access to enjoy and view all the waterfowl in the water. Probably most famously in the winter for Buffalo Harbor would be the presence of a snowy owl. I mean, who doesn't want to see a snowy owl? Well, we can't certainly guarantee them every year or every day. Oftentimes in the past winters now, we've been getting a snowy owl pretty reliably. Sometimes they can be out on that main break wall, so you might need the aid of a scope to see it. But there have been days where they're out on the docks where those boats are, and you get wonderful views to enjoy a snowy owl. And again, who doesn't want to go and enjoy a snowy owl someday? So Buffalo Harbor is a great place for that. Several of the Birds on the Niagara hikes are geared to get people out to Buffalo Harbor to enjoy that snowy owl, if at all present. But peregrine falcons, bald eagles, these are other fantastic birds that can be seen on a regular basis and enjoyed as well. Now, maybe just about 15 minutes south of Buffalo Harbor State Park is Woodlawn Beach State Park. This is right on the shore of Lake Erie, as you can see from the map. This could arguably be one of the more popular birding spots in Western New York, and certainly eBird boasts a list of 229 species for that park. Again, located right on Lake Erie, it's a excellent resting place for migratory birds traveling along the lake for both the spring and summer migrations. The neotropical migrants are plentiful during the spring migration. A wonderful selection of shorebirds can be discovered during the autumn migration. And during the winter, the gull and waterfowl species are certainly going to be present as well. I often find my highest number of great blackback gulls at a given area at Woodlawn Beach on the beach, often mixed with several other species of gulls as well. But the great blackbacks seem to really enjoy the beach at Woodlawn. So again, this is a year-round birding park with something new to discover each season and potentially each day. So definitely worth a visit for local birders. And maybe about 40 minutes south of Buffalo and a little bit south of Woodlawn Beach is Evangola State Park, also located on Lake Erie. We're typically known for our swimming beach at Evangola. We have a wonderful beach in the summer that people utilize, but you can see from this satellite image, this park is quite large and encompasses a variety of habitats in a large area. Which translates into wonderful birding opportunities. So we're at 733 acres, and within that acreage are several wooded swamps, ponds, a marsh, grassy areas, and very similar to Woodlawn, expansive views of Lake Erie. It's an excellent birding park, obviously during our spring and autumn migrations, being on the lake. But we also have some summer breeders here, like the eastern bluebird. We have a wonderful population of eastern bluebirds, thanks to local scout groups that were able to build some bluebird boxes for us and erect them along the parkway. And our bluebird population is quite strong, and many overwinter here as well, which is great to see. Probably famously too are our bald eagles. I work at Evangola State Park most days, and I see bald eagles almost daily, which is great. And the patrons love seeing them, and I do as well. So another great opportunity to view bald eagles. Probably even more famously than our bald eagles are our red-headed woodpeckers in the park. Evangola has always been a stronghold for red-headed woodpeckers, and during the summer months, when I'm at the Nature Center, we often get several visitors who come in and tell me they drove to Evangola just to see a red-headed woodpecker. So it's kind of great to hear that Evangola has that recognition for a great spot to see a wonderful woodpecker. So red-headed woodpeckers can be found here. Another wonderful birding park year-round as well. So that kind of highlights our state parks in the Niagara region, Niagara and Erie counties. I certainly appreciate everyone's time in joining me for the presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. And perhaps these are some new parks for you that you hadn't heard of, and this will inspire you to go out and discover what our parks can offer. Again, the Niagara Region Park Interpretive Team, the office I work out of, our team of environmental educators are leading guided hikes year-round. A lot of bird walks throughout the year, but other topics covered as well. So please check out our programs and join us. We always have fun. The programs are a great time, and the people that join are just phenomenal. And it's just a wealth of knowledge and people sharing ideas and experiences, and truly a fun time. So I hope you're able to join us on some of these programs. Again, I appreciate everyone's time, and get out there, enjoy these state parks, enjoy these wonderful natural treasures we have. Again, thank you, and happy birding out there.